These are the notes for lessons 3-4. And as you can see right here, we have uh, the answers to the notes. A over B equals C over D. Then we're going to cross multiply and you get A times D equals B times C. Here's definition of a ratio, a rate, a unit rate, and unit analysis. So you can pause the video and fill those in on your notebook. And we have proportion and the cross multiplication on the proportions down here. So if you could fill those in your notes for part of your homework assignment tonight. Up next is a couple examples of the homework. And as I said before, you can bow tie this or cross multiply. When you do that, you're going to get 2 times 9 equals 6 times p, otherwise known as 18 equals 6p. And then we're going to divide. So we cross multiply, then divide, and we get p equal to 3. Question like number 8 is asking if this is a proportion. And the quickest way to tell if something is a proportion is to set them equal to each other. Well, we don't know if they're equal, but set them across from each other and cross multiply. And we're going to get 90 equals 6 times 15 would be 60 plus 30, which is also 90. So yes, it is a proportion. That's how you would check to see if it's a proportion. Next question is or find the unit rate. So if we have an 8-ounce bottle of lotion that costs $4.50, and it wants to know what is the cost per ounce, per meaning a fraction bar, so it's per 8 ounces. And on the bottom we want 1 ounce, so we're going to divide 8 into $4.50. When we do that division, we get this answer over here. And we're looking for price, so we're going to round to the nearest cent. So we can round that to 56 cents per 1 ounce. So the unit rate is 56 cents per ounce. Word problem 45. Your car averages 18 miles per is a division bar, 1 gallon of gas on the highway. If it costs $1.18 per gallon, how much does it cost in dollars per mile to drive your car on the highway? So if we look at this, we start with 18 miles per gallon, and then we're going to multiply it by 1 gallon over $1.85. That's going to change it to 18 miles. So we're just going to multiply the top, multiply the bottom over $1.85, and the gallons cancel out. So, but we want cost in dollars per mile. So if we flip that, 185 is the same, $1.85 is to 18 miles. And then we reduce this to a unit rate, we will get our dollars on top per mile on the bottom. So we did the division over here, and we got 0.012. That translates as approximately $0.10 or 10 cents per 1 mile. Now this question was a little tricky, but you can see how the units, when you match the units up here, they cancel out and they give you what you want, which is miles compared to dollars, and then we just flip it and we got our answer after making it a unit rate. That's a little bit more difficult question. We're going to do canary's heart beats 130 times, so that's 130 beats in 12 seconds. And we're going to compare that to how many times a heart beats in 50 seconds. So we're going to put 50 seconds on the bottom, and we don't know how many beats that is, so we're going to use x as our variable. And we could just cross multiply 125x equals 50 times 130. Okay, so that's our crisscross. And now we're going to divide by 125 to get our answer. So looking at this question here, we are left with 50 times 130 divided by 125. Now, how do we do this without a calculator? Well, 125 is really 5 times 25, or 5 quarters is $1.25. So we can cancel this 5 and this 5 to leave a 10 behind there. The 25 leaves a 5 times 5 behind. And we can take a 5 out of here and here and leave a 2 behind there. We could also divide by 5 by 130, but let's just do the multiplication and division right now. When you do the multiplication, on top you get 2 times the 5, and you get, 2 times the 130 to get 260, and then divide that by this 5, and this is the division over here, and you get 52. So that would be our x value for the problem. So x equals 52, and if you answer the question, it's going to be 52 beats per 50 seconds. Okay, I'm pretty sure I messed up that last question. I apologize. So let's try this again. 130 beats per 12 seconds. I'm sorry, I messed up. Yeah. 130 beats for 12 seconds. I thought that was 125. Is to x beats per 50 seconds. There's a classic case of your S looking like a 5. Okay, so if I cross multiply, I get 12x equals 130 times 50. And then we're going to divide both sides by 12. And we're going to get x equals to this division problem here. 130 times 50 divided by 12. And let's see if we can make it a little easier on ourselves by saying that 2 times 2 times 3 is 12, or 4 times 3 is 12. So let's cancel a 2 from the 50 to get a 25 behind. And if we cancel a 2 from the 30, or the 130, half of 130. So if we cancel the 2 from 130, you get 65, and a 2 from the 50, you get 25. And I think that's all the division I can do. So now I need to multiply and divide by 3. So 3 into 65 times 25. So when we actually do the division here and do it correctly, sorry about that, I got a couple interruptions, so I messed up on my division here, or my whole problem. I got 541 and a remainder of 2, so 2/3 beats per minute. I believe that's, yeah, it's 541 and 2/3 beats per 50 seconds, in 50 seconds. I believe it was for 50 seconds. Yes, that is correct. So if we look at this question here, suppose you travel 84 miles in 1.5 hours. That's going to be this setup over here, 84 miles in 1.5 hours. We want to know at the same speed, so that's basically why we have an equal sign here, because it's the same, it's equivalent, as some miles, x, is to 3.25 hours. So this is the proportion you have to set up, and we're going to just crisscross and applesauce divide to get our answer. So we cross multiply here, and we got this set up. The next step is, I say, crisscross first, and then your applesauce would be divide both sides by the number out in front of x. So in this case, we're going to divide by 1.5. Both sides divide by 1.5 to get our answer. So now we have x equals 84 times 3.25 over 1.5. So we did the multiplication here, and we got 273. Make sure you carry that 1 there to get 273. Now we need to divide 1.5 into that answer. So 273. Now the decimal point moves over 1, so we move our decimal point over 1 here, and put a 0 there, and bring our decimal point up there, and do the... Okay, so we're going to do the division. Okay, so we do the division, we get 18.2, and there's the work for the division. Sorry for that interruption. Okay, so we do the division, we get x equals 18.2. Okay, so we're going to do question number 40, and then this should be enough information to do your homework tonight or help you out. We have a proportion, and when we have proportions, best way to get out of them is to cross multiply. We're going to crisscross here, and we're going to go 6 times x minus 1 equals 12 times x plus 2. These can be in different order here. There is a proper way to do it, and I apologize for not showing that, but you can have them on either side of the equal sign here. Either way, we have to distribute the 6, distribute the 12, figure out the answer. Okay, so we're going to distribute the 6, and we get 6x minus 6, and then we're going to distribute the 12, and we get 12x plus 12 times 2 is 24. Now we need to solve for x, and this brings us back to last week's work. I'm going to bring the x's over here because I got a nice 12 there, so I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. At the same time, I can bring the 24 over to this side. So we're moving the 24 that way and the 6x that way by addition and subtraction. Now when we do the addition here, these two become 0. These two here become negative 30. This here becomes 6x. And these two here become 0. And then we have a nice one-step equation to solve here. Divide both sides by 6, and we get x equal to negative 5.